Hey up everyone, I hope you're all doing alright. Welcome back to my channel and welcome if you're here for the first time. I hope that you've all had a good Christmas if you celebrate it, and if not I just hope you've had a good week, and yeah, hopefully you're all doing well. It's a weird time of year and it's like so busy, cold, a bit stressful, a bit hectic, and I know it's different for everybody, but either way I hope that your time over winter has been good. Mine's been alright, it's been very stressful. I did say in my last video I think that I wouldn't be posting much towards the end of December, so yeah, that's why I've not posted that much. It's just because it's so busy and like seeing family and all that sort of stuff. We've actually just been away to like visit my partner's family, and that has meant that when we've come back I've been so tired and just like burnt out from all the socialising and the travelling and everything. So this video has been like a proper mad rush. I actually put a post on the community tab asking what sort of build everybody wanted me to do, and I think I got about like 92 votes last time I checked, which is the most like votes I've got on a poll before. And I know like community tab doesn't always get seen, so I think that's pretty good, isn't it? Usually I don't get like that much engagement on there just because I think people don't see it, do they? But yeah, pretty good. And I think the option that is today's video had about like 50% of the votes, 56%, something like that. So yeah, we're building the Goth house today, or renovating it, and this will be for my save file, but you will be able to download it off the gallery like straight away. It'll be up now as you're watching this, so if you do want to download it, my ID is HutchPlays and it's fully base game, don't use any packs, no CC, all of that stuff. And this is something that I've wanted to do, like renovate the Goth house and everything, build it, whatever, probably since I ever started playing The Sims 4. I don't think that the Maxis version of the build is too bad. I think the exterior is a bit like weird looking. I can see what they were trying to do, but I'm not really keen on the exterior of the build. But I really do like the interior. To say it's like, a lot of the in-game builds are quite empty and lackluster because there's a lot of restrictions that's in the game, but the Goth house is actually quite full of like decorations, and it's a pretty big house. It represents The Sims quite well in my opinion. There's a couple of things that are a bit weird, like in the kitchen there's like a kid's chair, which I think is something that they put there to be like, oh yeah, that's for Alexander, but it just looks a bit out of place, I don't know. But yeah, either way I quite like it, so I didn't want to like change it too much. I just wanted a more gothic sort of Victorian exterior, and then a lot of the interior is quite similar in terms of like the layout and what the build contains. I didn't want to change it like too much because, like I said before, I've always liked the interior of this build, like the Maxis version. There were just a couple of changes that I wanted to do, and I also had a bit of inspiration from The Sims 2 as well, which is my favourite Sims game, so I definitely wanted to include a couple of elements from that. There's not a lot. I think it's only slightly inspired by The Sims 2 version. I think initially when I started it out I wanted it to look more like that, but it just didn't end up going that way. But I'm still happy with like how it turned out and everything. The Sims 2 is like my favourite game of all time, and the Goth house in that is just so like nostalgic and I just love it. The exterior of it is very weird looking, it's just like a big box, but I don't know, for The Sims 4 I want it to be more interesting on the exterior, but then the interior be good as well. So yeah, and yeah, we're just doing the shell right now. I'm kind of hoping that I'll be able to do a full voiceover, but if I don't, it's just like for the sake of time and stuff. I do want to get this video up before like 2022 is over, because it was supposed to be like my last video of the year, but it's just took me a long time to like build it and get the editing done and everything. There was a lot of footage and a lot of like back and forth, and I actually recorded the shell twice without realising. So I recorded the building of the shell yesterday, and then today I recorded it again, and I'm like, yep, start over, it's fine. And then when I went to edit the video I was like, why do I have two versions of me building the shell that look exactly the same, apart from the first one like the camera was a bit all over the place. So that were a bit of a waste of time. Like I didn't really need to record it again, but either way it's done now. The video is done, I just need to record the voiceover and everything. But yeah, it's just typical, like when you're running late I feel like every problem comes up and every like interruption or delay. Watch now, mate, internet will go down, there'll be 25 fireworks going off because it's like New Year's Eve and fireworks going off and all that sort of thing. It's not been too bad, but it is only like 8 o'clock, so I feel like me saying that I'm going to jinx it and I'm going to have to stop recording because of fireworks and stuff, which is annoying because people are supposed to set fireworks off like at midnight, but they don't. Like where I live, they just set them off whenever, like random 2, 3, 4 here and there, like just set a random one off. But yeah, hopefully it's not too bad to record. I always seem to record when there's fireworks going off. Around November we have something called Bonfire Night in the UK. If you're from the UK, you'll be like familiar with it and everything. But it's basically just a thing that we celebrate. I know why, but I don't get like why we still celebrate it, because it's something that happened like hundreds of years ago. Basically a guy tried to pull off some sort of plot on the Houses of Parliament where our government works, and it failed, and now we celebrate that he failed by making a little model of him and like burning it and stuff and then setting off fireworks. And it's always in November and that, but people always set off fireworks like at the end of October all the way through November, and I always seem to record like in the evening when I know for a fact it's going to be fireworks, but yeah, I don't ever learn, and I'm doing it with New Year's as well. Obviously there's going to be like fireworks, but I never like think to record a bit earlier, but it is what it is. But yeah, like I said, the build is very much like Victorian Gothic sort of inspired on the exterior. I did use a reference picture for like the front. I'll put it on screen, but I did like divert a little bit. I think that one is made of wood, or like the exterior is wood, but I wanted to go with the brick. The brick that I started using originally is what the original build has, but I just thought it looks a little bit flat and I wanted a bit more texture because the build is so dark and it's pretty much just like black everything, and I wanted it to look like that, but the brick just made it all look a little bit like flat and like there's no colour. And in the Sims 2 version, I think the house is like a dark brown, like it's like a brown brick, but it's like, I don't know, it's like a bit textured looking, and I wanted to have that with this build as well. I also think that there might be like too many windows on the front. There's just something about it. I thought, oh, I overdone it. It's really difficult to settle on a window from the base game. Like I kept thinking of windows that I wanted to use, and I was just like, oh, that's not base game. Like I was thinking about the ones from Get Together, and I could have sworn like there were more base game ones that were a bit more gothic looking, but obviously not. Mainly for like the sizes and stuff. I think there's decent windows in the base game, but the wall heights that I used the tallest wall height for the lower floor, second wall height for like upstairs, and then the little tower thing at the top has got the tallest wall height again to make it just look taller. But then finding doors that fit and everything, and windows, I don't know, I had a bit of a struggle, so I used the windows that the build originally has, but I just used like more of them and in a different swatch. And I also wanted to include, usually I think there's a, what's it called, telescope on the roof, but now I'm thinking about it, there can't be because we didn't have telescopes till now. So what's normally on the roof in the Sims 4 version? I don't remember. But either way, in the Sims 2 version there's a, oh my god, why do I always forget what it's called? I always want to say microscope. A telescope on the roof. It ties into the whole like lore and all that sort of stuff. But I wanted to have that now that we've got telescopes in base game, so I just put it on the balcony because we don't really have like a roof section where your Sims can like access. I just wanted balconies, but the top like tower thing, I'll talk about that when we get to it, but I wanted to have some references from The Sims 2 with that. But anyway, I feel like I did a lot of rambling without actually saying what I wanted to say, but don't matter. But yeah, for the kitchen, I went with this like checker sort of tiling, and I went with similar swatches to the one that's in the Sims 2 version of the Goth house, and the flooring in that's the same sort of flooring as well, just because that's what I associate the Goth house with. I don't think the kitchen's too bad in the Sims 4, it's just a bit small, and there's like a little dining table in there, and then they've got like a big dining table, and whenever I've played with the Goths they don't actually use the big dining table, so I thought we'll have the dining room on the back and have like a little, what's the shape of it? It's not circular, but you know what I mean, like a little circular dining room, just to sort of give it that like Gothic Victorian look, whatever. But yeah, hopefully I explained that alright, but I didn't want to have a dining table in the kitchen because I want the Sims to sit round the dining table, because in The Sims 2 they've got a kitchen and then the dining room's like to the side, and the Sims will always go and sit at the dining table, whereas in The Sims 4 they'll sit in the kitchen. And I just don't like that. I feel like they're a rich family. They kind of seem quite family oriented to me, like they would sit around together and eat and have a big meal together, like that sort of thing. They wouldn't just be like sat in the kitchen. So yeah, I wanted to do the similar thing that's in The Sims 2. And yeah, for the colour scheme I went obviously very like black and like dark colours, but I didn't want to overdo it with the red. I prefer to use red accents, and then in the dining room I actually used the red like herringbone flooring. I don't think I've ever used that before. It only comes in one swatch, and I just thought it added that red. It's like a cherry red colour without adding too much, you know what I mean? Because I think sometimes the Goth house can look a little bit overwhelming with all the red, and I totally get it. Like, you know, red is their colour, red and black, like it's very much Bella's colour, but I don't know, like for the sake of a house I don't want it to look like too red, and yeah, it's not my colour, and I thought red accents would look better rather than having a ton of red. But the bedroom that Bella and Mortimer have is very red, and it's very like typical Goth aesthetic. And when I say Goth aesthetic, I don't mean like Goth aesthetic like the subculture, I mean the Goth family, because I don't really see the Goths as like Goths. I just see them as like they're a bit old-timey Gothic in sense of the like historical sense, like they have quite extravagant things, but them themselves are not like Goths, you know what I mean? If that do you know what I mean? Like when I think Goth, I think like somebody that listens to The Cure, and I mean there's lots of subcultures within the Goth community, but you know what I mean? Like the Goths are not actually that, they're just very traditional. And yeah, that's just my approach for it. Like the name is not necessarily what they are, but they have Gothic elements, you know what I mean? Like wearing black, and the interest that Bella has, she's very into like dark stuff. Like she's in, I think her original like bio in The Sims 2, or it might be Sims 3, one of her bios is that she's interested in like the macabre and stuff like that. Like she's into that sort of thing. So yeah, I didn't want the house to look too like dark and like dingy or anything. I definitely wanted it to look expensive, extravagant, because they've got money and they would definitely have like the more expensive items. I'm not really sure how much the house is worth, to be honest with you, but it should be quite up there in price because they've got like really expensive items. And yeah, and then for the living room, I started off, I really wanted to use the red settees that they originally have, and the layout is pretty much the same, it's just a little bit smaller, and the colour scheme is a little bit different as well. I really wanted to use a similar colour scheme to the one that's in The Sims 2, like it's a lot of dark browns and green, but it just looks right to me. Like it just, I don't know, I think it suits that sort of era and that time, like the 2000s and stuff, 2004s when the game came out. So it kind of, I wanted to use that, but we just don't have the same sort of colour green in The Sims 4. It's like a dark rich green in The Sims 2. We don't really have that, so I thought we'll Sims 4, we'll do the Sims 4 version, and instead of like going to Sims 2, you know what I mean? And like I said, I wanted to use plenty of red accents, so I went with like a burgundy dark red rug. The chess table's got like red accents on it, and I also gave them a TV. In the original build they don't have a TV, but in The Sims 2 they do. And I feel like in The Sims 4 they just do the same things constantly, and that's play the piano, drink coffee like excessively, and they also play the violin, and it's just a little bit annoying when you've got the piano on constantly, violin on constantly, and then they don't really do anything else. So I thought I'd give them a TV just because, you know, gives them something else to do. And then of course we've got the piano room, which in The Sims 2 the piano's like right near the front door, but in The Sims 4 they've got like their own dedicated space to it, and no exception with my build. I wanted to give them a dedicated space with the piano, and I also put a violin in here as well. I can't remember if it's that like really expensive one, but either way it's a music room. It's a little bit weird that it leads out to the back garden, but I couldn't really fit the door anywhere else. I didn't really think about how the Sims would get to the back garden until like much later on, so it's a bit weird, but it is what it is. The Sims don't mind, but can you imagine if you're like playing on your grand piano and then someone walks in from outside? It'd like spoil it a little bit. I wanted to give you a glimpse of like the upstairs as well. I didn't include the footage of the bathrooms in this build just because it's already like quite a long video. The bathrooms are quite basic. There's 3 bathrooms. There's one downstairs, which is toilet, sink and shower. There's like the main bathroom upstairs, which is just a bath, toilet and sink. And then the Bella and Morty have got their own like ensuite, which is also, it's got that bath shower thing, you know, that like fancy looking one or old fashioned looking one. And I gave them that in the black and red swatch, which again I don't think I've ever used, but I thought why not give them that. And then they've got like a red tiled bathroom, a very red bedroom. I thought this is a place where we're gonna like overdo it with the red and just sort of like give it that proper Bella Goth experience. In this save file, the family are going to be the revamped version of the Goths. Obviously you can always like replace them or get rid of them even. You don't even have to play with the Sims like the Olivia. You can evict them all and put your own Sims in. I have though made sure that when Alexander Goth grows up, he looks like, without sounding nasty, he looks better than like the revamped version when he grows up. If you didn't know, the Sims like did a revamp, is that the word? They updated the Sims, the Goth family, sorry. They updated the skin tones, they kind of changed their outfits, they gave Bella a bit more of a realistic body. They gave them more sort of, I don't know what the term is, but like, they gave them like, what even is the word? Like, features to suit their like ethnic backgrounds, I guess. So Bella has a bit more of a, I don't know, like a nose that's not just like perfect, like she's had surgery, and like massive boobs and tiny waist and all that. Like they made her look like an actual real person, and I think they look really good. The only kind of gripe that I have with it is just Alexander Goth. He looks very unusual when he ages up. I don't want to say like ugly because I feel mean, but yeah, like a lot of people, if you've not seen it, just have a quick look. Revamped Alexander Goth age up. It just looks unusual. He doesn't look like either of his parents. So I think how the Sims got that is they made him look like what he looks like when he's a child Sim. When I make Sims as children, I like create what they look like as young adults and then I age them down because then you know what they're going to look like. Whereas if you make a child Sim and edit the features as a child, the facial features can change so much when they get older, and I think that's all that's happened. I think it's just a slight oversight, or maybe not, maybe they wanted him to look a bit like, I don't know, I don't want to say ugly because like, oh, you know, it's mean, and at the end of the day it's pixels and it just looks unusual compared to the other Sims. But I've made him look a little bit more like a good mixture of Bella and Mortimer. He's got quite a similar bone structure to Mortimer. I think he's got Bella's nose or Bella's lips maybe, or maybe he's got, I can't remember, but he looks like a good mixture of both of them when he ages up. So if you do download the save file, yeah, it'll be the revamped version is basically what I'm trying to say. And I also gave them likes and dislikes, and I've got their relationships and stuff. They've got skills, they know people within the neighbourhood and everything. And yeah, I mean, I think when you first play the game, the Sims have got skills and like they've got jobs and stuff, but I don't think they have relationships with other Sims. That's like a big thing that I wanted to do with my save file. And then obviously I've done Alexander's room. Kind of got stuck on what colour scheme I wanted to go with. In The Sims 2 he has a blue bedroom, like it's very blue, so I wanted to go with blue, but I just didn't like the swatches, so I went a bit more like blue accents and then just gave him like a different sort of bedding. Oh, I went with dark green accents, not blue. And then Cassandra's room, she has a purple bedroom, but it's kind of like a hot pink purple in the original build. So I just gave her like the purple accents because I just thought it was a bit too much, like having the purple, and it's a very like deep purple colour that I gave her. So she's got like a purple bed, a chair, and then she's got some artwork as well. And then for the last room in the house, in The Sims 2, there is like the top of the build has got like this tower thing, and in it it's basically like empty apart from an easel, and I wanted to have that as well, so I just made it a bit more filled up. I wish that we could have like an attic, so that ladder, I wish that could like fold down, so pretend that that's an attic entrance. I couldn't really fit any stairs like to go up to the attic thing, so they've just got ladders. But you could just pretend it's an attic thing where, you know, you like pull it down and the ladders like slide out. That's what I wanted it to be, but obviously we don't have that in The Sims 4, so unlucky, but you get the idea. But yeah, it's just a little artwork room up the not artwork, painting room. Very much inspired by The Sims 2, like I said. And then for the back garden, I just wanted to keep it quite simple and like basic. I can't even remember what the back garden looks like in the original build, I'll be honest with you. Off the top of my head, I'm really trying to like think what does it look like, but I can't remember. So I just gave them a grill area, a place where they can like obviously sit out. Oh, I didn't give them a bin. In the final build, they'll have an outside bin. And then I also put down some grave markers, headstones, whatever they're called, because in The Sims 2, and I think The Sims 3, they have like, they're kind of known for having a massive graveyard in the garden. And there's actual ghosts that live within the headstones and stuff. Like, they're all family members and everything, and they come out. And I used to be really terrified by it as a kid, but I really like it now. And yeah, I thought we'll have some headstones, and it kind of is like reminiscent of The Sims 2 and the Goths like lore and background and all that. I only put like 3 down. They're just like decorative items. Obviously they don't have ghosts attached to them. But yeah, I wanted to include that. I thought it was like a cool little thing to add. And then after that will be the screenshots. So I hope that you enjoyed this one. I feel like I've kind of rushed through the voiceover. Hopefully it doesn't feel like too rushed. But I did want to say that I hope that you all have a real good year. Thank you so much for all the support in 2022. I did do a video recently where I renovated my first build, so I'll put that in the description if you want to watch that. And I'll probably link it in a card as well. But yeah, just I hope that you've all had a good end to your year, and if not, I hope that 2023 is a lot better. I can't believe it's 2023. It's like, what the fuck? It feels like it should be 2013. Like, where is the time going? But yeah, thank you all so much for watching. Like I said, if you want to download the build, my ID is HutchPlays, and hopefully next year we actually finish the save file so you can download the whole thing. If you're watching this later and you want to download the save file or see if it's ready, I'll put it in the description, but it likely won't be ready for a while, so just check the description. But yeah, anyway, like I said, thank you all so much for watching. Happy New Year, everybody. And yeah, I'll see you in my next video. Bye.